All right, so welcome to the second episode of our podcast. We finally came up with a name, finally got some visuals. So I just decided to go with the Iris Gaming Podcast because that's what I call my socials. I actually have started streaming since the first one. I've just been doing some CSGO streams and COD with this kid.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully Brian can hop on
I
those
want to
too.
hop on CS.
Yeah, so last time I said let's introduce ourselves, and then I didn't introduce myself. So my name is Anthony. We all go to the same college, all buddies, all avid video game players. I've since started streaming, trying to get these out. So yeah.
And you got new equipment since too. You got the webcam, you got the new mic.
Yeah, so I've always had the peripherals, like the Logitech shit, but I've never had like the streaming peripherals. So now that we've gotten into that, it's gonna start pumping out some content.
Yeah, beautiful.
So let's just get right into it. I think like in the last month, the most obvious thing that's happened, this virus that's going on, it's fucked up. Like, obviously stay safe, like, be hygienic. But we were just talking about in relation to esports. So things like the Overwatch League, the COD World League, we're seeing that the players are getting a little sketched out because they're going to a new venue, different country every week.
They're like high-fiving.
They're high-fiving. They're doing signatures just like traditional sports. So they're seeing like what's gonna happen. Are they gonna have to cancel some events?
Right.
Our season's gonna have to be postponed. We're seeing the same thing in traditional sports as well. Like Brian was just saying before we started.
Yeah,
about
there's something with like locker room bans or like whatever's going on.
So, really, like, what's your take on that? Should they? I mean, obviously they're businesses. These are multi-billion-dollar corporations, but they're gonna have to prioritize the health of their players.
I was gonna say like the NBA and like just anything in general is all about their players and people that are playing it. And one gets sick, the whole team is always together. They're all gonna get sick, and the whole Lakers could be out. You know what I mean? And that's just I don't know what they're doing though with like the locker room, like where they're going, and like getting changed or doing whatever they're doing. But I think it is a good thing. Same thing with the COD. Like, we can always reschedule it. We can always work around that.
Yeah, but it's that group of professionals that bring all of us, like, our enjoyment from whether it be basketball or Call of Duty, that, like, those are the guys we're going to see. So we got to make sure that those guys are healthy.
Exactly. Right. They got to be careful, like, with high-fiving and stuff. It's, like, no disrespect at this point. Like, I feel like if someone comes up to you and shake hands, you're like, no, thank you. Like, it's all respect at this point. Like,
yeah, just hygiene.
Know.
Yeah, you got to be careful of that. So going into the COD World League, just today, as we're recording this, Call of Duty came out with their brand new Battle Royale called Warzone. We're testing it out a little bit. So one of the biggest differences I've seen is that there's no real inventory space. They're going with that traditional COD, 2 gun slots, and everything is basically on the ground. Mm-hmm. So you won't be looting bodies and going. And you remember in
so if you kill bodies, you can't. There's no looting off them. Or?
No, so you loot them, but it's just on the ground, and you individually pick up
Fortnite.
the items.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. Imagine, because you remember in PUBG, you used to have to strafe.
Yeah.
You have to strafe while looting inventory, so it's not like that.
Good
you just
times.
go and pick it up. And I think it's actually 150 BR, which is for
insane.
I mean, let's see how the map is, because I mean,
knowing COD and their netcode.
Well, Battle Royale.
What did they do for Black Ops 4? How many was it? Was it just 100? It was definitely more.
You know what? I think it might have even been...
It was 100.
100 or less than that. I know, I'm trying to think, most Battle Royales, 100 is kind of like the box
CS
standard.
was 16, or is 16.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, who even know... Does anybody know that CS has a fucking Battle Royale?
Bro, the kids you play... So the Battle Pass came out for CSGO, and, like, the challenges are... You've seen it. Like, there's challenges within the Battle Royale. And I like the Battle Pass because it makes you play things like you haven't played before.
Well, it makes you use... That's the biggest thing that Fortnite did and PUBG did, where it made you kind of change your play style, change your weapon loadouts.
Yeah.
Because if not, the game would get so stale if you weren't going for challenges.
Well, Fortnite's constantly updating weapons, constantly getting rid of this, vaulting this, and it's good. It's keeping their game fresh. I mean, personally, I hate the game, but it's keeping their game fresh.
I never got into it. Like, I used to joke, like, I would always say, kind of like Taco Bell is like, when it comes to their menu, they're really good if you look at their marketing, because every 3 weeks they've got a new item, new commercial, pushing it on social media. That's kind of what Fortnite did. They realized, like, variety is, like, what's the saying? Like, variety is the spice of life. Like, if you just throw an update once a week at kids, like, they'll keep on playing your game. That's why they played it for a year. But this is kind of a side topic. But one of the biggest things about Fortnite in particular is that people don't think about the dev burnout. Think about the sheer amount of content they dropped in the year and a half that they were blowing up, making billions of dollars. I mean, you had devs working 80 to 100 hour weeks for months at a time. Like, that's so detrimental. And, like, personally, that's why I moved off of computer science. I'm now going more towards computer engineering, because then I can just work with the hardware. Because otherwise, I'd be like a software dev or a game dev, and I'd be working 60 to 80 hours a week. Like, it's they have such an overbearing because the thing is, they're private contractors.
Right.
They're not employees. So you could see, like, I thought it was bullshit, but, like, Blizzard, definitely, like, say whatever you want about Blizzard. Like, I love their games, but their policies are a bit bullshit. Because they made more money than they've ever made in a quarter. About the end of last year, they laid off 600 game devs.
Oh my
like,
God.
The people who single-handedly made all that money for them
Just gone.
is being dumped with no consequences.
That's ridiculous. I think Activision did something like that too.
Well, yeah, because they're Activision.
Oh, Activision is Blizzard,
it's
right?
Activision Blizzard now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, like, Activision, well, both of them have just kind of lost my respect in the vein of their personal policies, like their social policies, because, like, do you remember that shit that happened with Hong Kong at last BlizzCon, where they just kind of minimized it, and then, like, they had a bullshit apology, so it's like, that's the biggest thing. You have to hold those companies accountable, because, like, I don't care if you're making fantastic games, but if you're, like,
a piece of shit.
if you're kissing up to, like, the Chinese government, like, listen, like, we're gonna take your company with a grain of salt. Like,
it's tough. It really is. But as I was saying about the like the battle royale, like, people who play battle royale strictly are just so good at them. Like, the kids who play CS:GO aren't playing how we play, like, competitive and or casuals, whatever. They play CS:GO for the battle royale. I mean, those kids are sweaty. Like, they try.
Yeah.
So I think I learned from my brother, like, especially with Fortnite, because of the degree of movement that they gave you with building. If you came at kids with just a raw aggression, like full tilt, full building at them, most kids don't know what to do. Like, because most people that play those kind of games are just playing casually. Just like, you hop into a great game with 100 randoms. So if you're just sweating and you're just full clipping at kids, taking every engagement you can take, you're going to win pretty much most of your engagements, because they're not prepared for that level of,
it just ruins
intensity.
the game for casual gamers, though.
Well, I mean, like,
Well, that's
a factor in, like, a lot of games. Yeah. Even in COD multiplayer itself, like, bro, we fucking run up on shipment and it feels like we're getting our shit, like, clapped. It's just like a sweaty. It's like a squad of 6.
Oh, I'm the sweaty guy. I drop like 100 bombs.
Well,
I dropped the 90 bomb and we still lost.
So that's the thing. That's the thing that sucks about like, we used to call it, what is it, pub stomping back in the day.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Where, like, if you're not playing in a, like, ELO or like a matchmaking, an MMR, like a matchmaking rating system, you're gonna have every end of the spectrum in one game. And, like, literally, like, he dropped 91, I dropped 70. We still lost because the other kids on the team were just not playing objective and fucking around. Like, there was a kid literally camping on shipment. It's like, all right, like, I don't know what we're doing here. Like, we're obviously here for different reasons.
Yeah, it's real tough. I don't know. But what's your honest opinion about? I think Battle Royale should be just Battle Royales. But what do you think, like, Call of Duty adding Battle Royale and just any other game that, like, was itself is now adding battle royales?
So the biggest thing is, I'll say, if it's a game like a kind of like a first-person shooter multiplayer game within the vein of COD, I see no problem with it. Because if you look at, like, if you look at Apex, I mean, they weren't going to make the third Titanfall. That's realistically what it was going to be. They were like, all right, well, we'll take this game that we love and turn it into what ended up being a mad popular game. But, like, if it was something, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, there are certain games that, like, if it were to take away from the development of the main title, then I wouldn't be about it. But then you see, like, I think diversity in anything is, like, is power.
It'll just get more people on your game.
Well, not only that, but if you see, like, the diversity in the type of battle royales, because, like, Apex came along with the pinging system, and Fortnite was like,
that's a
this
great
is
I remember that,
amazing quality of life change that we should have done ages ago. So, like, especially if it's within that vein, like I don't really see a problem because like they'll all build together and you can pick and choose which one you want. Because imagine if Fortnite and PUBG were the only battle royales that came out. Like there was no H1Z1, there was no there's no COD, like there's CS, like there's so many now that you can choose which one you want.
Variety.
Yeah, so you just have that choice.
Exactly.
I mean, I know there's other battle royales before Fortnite, but Fortnite definitely made the biggest impact and influenced all these games to get battle royales. 100%.
It appeals to kids, bro. Kids, like, it's not really violent.
Little cartoon
like,
characters.
No blood.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true, too.
Well, I think what battle royales did was they kind of made, not video games, but, like, they kind of moved, like, the, like, zeitgeist away from sports games. Because if you would think, like, we used to have, like, high school football, like, pasta parties. Mm-hmm. What was everybody playing? 2K or Madden.
Yeah, now
Fortnite came out. What was everybody playing?
Fortnite.
Yo, let's get a 4-man squad run, or let's try and get a dub. Like, because it's unlike almost any other game where you're not confident you're gonna win, but like the win rate is so much lower than any other game because it's just like you're banging your head against the wall. Like you could die. You could be the 90th man to die and you're pissed off, or you could be the 3rd man to die left and you're even more pissed off. So, like, there's a huge range of, like, satisfaction that you can get from that.
Right, yeah. Definitely.
Because then you see people on Twitch that have a 90% win rate in public matches of Fortnite, and it's like, they're winning all the fucking time. Like,
and those are the people that watch because they're good.
It's also that grind, bro. Like, you're sitting there, bro, 45 fucking minutes, just head to the fucking wall, bro. Yeah. Like, especially in games, like, Escape from Tarkov, which isn't like a battle royale, but it's still like, you know, you grind for all these items, bro, just get sniped from across the fucking map, and your whole game's over, bro.
It's like Rust. That's like Rust.
Right? Yeah, bro.
When you get killed by I forgot who was joking, but like some streamer was joking, like, there's nothing worse than going out, like, looting, not getting the greatest loot, but you're still confident, and then you get killed by a black dot on the horizon, like fucking 300 meters away, and you're like, what did I just spend my last 20 minutes on?
You could, it's either a game where there's a fuck ton of combat, like your Shroud, or you just like sitting there running across the map.
You either run across the map,
bro.
or you sit and wait for it to come. Yeah. Do you remember, like, there would be mad people who would just wait. They would wait and hide for the entire
Bush
game,
camping
and then take a 1v1. So instead of the person who slayed out
who
the
has
entire
9 kills.
game, who got, like, even if you look at, like, at the highest level of Fortnite, like, people were getting like 15 kills in a game just to have some fucking little kid who sat and hid the whole game pop out, take a 1v1 and win off of a single kill. So like they've introduced a lot of variety in, like, in video games, but I think they are a fad. Like, they're almost like MOBAs. Like, MOBAs were the zeitgeist for, like, 2009 to 2014, 2013, and then we kind of moved away from them. So I think we definitely will move away.
I feel like a topic that we can kind of bounce off of is Twitch bans, and kind of. So, do you guys know Sore Carl or Carl?
Yeah.
You saw that? I don't think he should have been banned for that. So pretty much what happened was he was drunk, whatever, and he usually is drunk in his streams. I'm usually in his streams once in a while, and he always has a gun, and he thought he unloaded it, whatever, and he accidentally shot it. Which is completely messed up. Don't get me wrong, but he got banned from Twitch. He doesn't know how long he's banned for. He got kicked from his team, Soar, all that stuff, and then you have the Twitch streamer Alinity or whatever her name is, throwing cats, feeding the cats alcohol, shit like that. And
what do you expect, bro? Well, I feel like, bro, as a Twitch streamer, you have a fucking responsibility, and you should know before you fucking start giving your.
She's not banned though.
No, well, there's a lot of things that goes to, like, the broader. There's a broader conversation to be had about Twitch streamers, which is
females.
It's content. It's content and character. Yeah. If the content that you are posting or live streaming is explicitly banned or explicitly, like, against TOS, then of course it should get banned. But we're seeing a lot of the time where it's not even necessarily the content, but the character of the person running the stream, which is getting called into question. And it's like any other social media platform where not only does it get made political or it gets made into anything like that where it shouldn't, that's not what it should be about. And then you see people where it's like, well, it's apples to oranges. Like, why did you ban this person but not for doing one dumb thing when this person is like straight like
That's a
like
great
if you
point,
look at like
though.
Tyler 1, like classic Tyler 1, like that like pre-reformed Tyler 1 like was the most toxic like terrible shit you could ever see. And it's like, all right, but like he was bringing in incredible amounts of viewers.
So was Ninja. Ninja was really toxic
Oh,
too
absolutely.
during H1Z1.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing clips like
Little shit.
clips back in the day where it's like
That was great.
sponsors would be horrified to see those videos.
Everyone's so sensitive now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you look, Twitch is interesting because you can see they offer so many different types of streamers, but they just like, yeah, like I think we should go back to that kind of like Wild West internet. Like, who cares? Like, obviously, if you're doing something explicitly illegal, you're showing something that they can't show. Because like the biggest trade-off is that the platform is kind of run by advertisers. Like, they are the lifeblood of any social media. Because otherwise, there's no money to be made whatsoever. Like Snapchat, before they started putting unskippable banner ads and having all those stories, they were super overvalued in the stock market. Because think about it, how did Snapchat make money off of you if all they were providing you was pictures? Like, they weren't providing you ads, so they had no.
Well, now they have like TV shows on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So I think Twitch, like, obviously, within the reasons of like, or within reason of not upsetting advertisers, that's probably the definite line. But otherwise, like, if it's just people being mean on the internet, like, come on, guys. Like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
What did Tyler 1 say? Or not Tyler 1, Tyler the Creator say, that tweet? I don't want to say it.
Yeah. So, I wanted to move on to a little esports, and I think, the biggest thing, at least for me as a fan of Overwatch, that I could bring up is their recent implementation of the hero pools, which I think it's season 21 already?
Yeah.
Which has been awesome.
Overwatch
like,
going deep.
It's kind of rejuvenated like my like interest in the game, because you see like every week is a different meta, and like every game, depending on who can play what, is way more like enticing. Because it used to be like, here's the meta is gonna stand for the next 4, sometimes 9 months. I mean, Dive stood for like a year or two, and like it was either you got into a game and you had people who could play those fundamental like meta heroes, or you lost. And so like seeing hero pools where it's like, because for the longest time the game's supposed to be about being able to switch characters in the middle of a game, which like they were the first people to really do something like that, and like to have like a wide variety in your hero pool, like your personal hero pool. Like, how were you a shallow character or a shallow player? Like, could you only play 3 characters, or were you a very like dense player where you could play most of the roster? And like for someone like me, where I can proficiently play 20 out of 29 characters, I wasn't feeling rewarded for that, because I was only responsible for playing 3 tanks, the 2 same DPS, and the 2 same healers that were the best in the game.
Right.
So like you're seeing in the Overwatch League now that like teams that used to be like dominant, because they could train their asses off on one meta, are kind of getting kicked to the wayside. Like Philadelphia Fusion this season, who actually contended for like the first season championship, pretty dope team. They were 5-0 for the first like 3 or 4 weeks of this season, because they like played that one meta incredibly well, and then they just halfway through like implemented the hero pools, and they've lost to like one of the most dog shit teams. Like they lost to I think they lost to Washington.
It's kind of like Rainbow Six too with operators.
Yeah.
Like you either you can know all your operators, or you're just main one guy, 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah, there should be an importance or like a significance to like variety, and so it's also like from a creativity standpoint, you're seeing teams where just because you could play like the double shield meta incredibly well, and you grinded it for months and months, like doesn't mean that once every other week is a brand new meta, you're going to be able to adapt. Like you need to have like creative minds, like people who really know the game in and out, to like come up with the best strategy. Because like even though it's such a heavily strategy dependent game, like you weren't really seeing that because like the meta was so concrete that like the strategy was there before you even got there. Like an average player like me wasn't discovering new strategies to play, like because everybody knew what the fuck the meta was because the meta's been the same for the last 4 months.
Right. Yeah.
So like they've it's definitely interesting seeing how they've implemented that.
Yeah, I wish I got into Overwatch.
Yeah, there's still. I mean, it's been going strong for like 4 years now. So like just the other day, Dr. Disrespect got into it, which is pretty dope. Yeah.
Nice.
I gotta watch that. He's be raging like a madman.
So you wanted to go into you wanted to talk about the LCS. So tell us a little bit about Cloud9 and their struggles.
Cloud9 is easily like the most insane esports. Well, no, that's a drag.
They're
Cloud9 is easily one of the most insane LCS esports teams in like the last 4 years, bro. 12-0. Now they just lost their first game, but like 12-1.
That's an incredible. How many games are in a season 18, in an LCS season? 18. So they made it. They made it 66.
I mean, they'll be positive throughout the whole.
Yeah, they mathematically they can't go negative. That's crazy. I mean, they really.
I want to see how they do in the finals. So that's a big. Everyone's sucking them off now.
Did they lose to some like small team, or was it like a good battle?
Yeah, bro. I think it was like some small fucking some.
I mean, not.
I
mean, Cloud9 is like a phase or what used to be Optic, because if you see like they're a household esports name, like you can see all across esports that they
have a presence everywhere, basically.
Yeah, there's really not a game that they don't. I mean, even if you look at, I want to say, damn, I forgot his name now, but there's one of the best Super Smash Bros. Melee's players, Hungry Box, I think his name is, or Mango. I think it's C9 Mango. One of the best to ever play the game.
Cloud9 had a good Rocket League, Squishy Muffins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that as well. So
they
like
good players.
They're such a reputable org, which is why I think we talked about this a little bit in the last episode. If you see, we're kind of transitioning away from that classic org sense, because like now we're going into franchise leagues.
Franchising, yeah.
And if I see, for example, like the London Spitfire, if I'm an esports fan, I'm gonna know that white and like light blue is Cloud9's colors, but I might not immediately know it's a Cloud9 team. Right. So like, if I'm not aware of their background, but I'm a huge Spitfire fan, I don't know that I can go back and like see all their other teams that I can also support.
I feel like with the jerseys, how I was saying, it's very like simple jersey designs. We were looking at that for CWL specifically. I think that they should incorporate the actual organization logos. So Huntsmen should have the NRG logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Faze, well, everyone knows Atlanta Faze because it's Atlanta Faze, but you know where I'm getting at. I think that they should have their brand there, like Optic. Does Optic have? They still have their logo on there.
I think Optic is legit just the old Optic.
Yeah. I don't know how they got past that.
Which is kind of.
It's just Optic LA or something.
It's just unfortunate that they still. We said this last time.
Like NRG, like Huntsmen, they should get it there. Is it United branch? I don't think a United branch, but team logo should be on the jerseys too. Even if it's small, even if it's like a little logo on the arm, something like that, something simple, just so people know. And I think that makes more sense too. And it'll make more people buy it too. I feel like
because you'll know it's
the
name
recognition. It's what you want to rep.
It's the brand recognition too, because you'll know like to go into whether it be, let's say you get interested in Rainbow Six Siege and you're a fan of the LCS. Well, you know, like, oh, I want to go fuck with the Cloud9 team because I fuck with them in the LCS. Like, it's that recognition. Like, if everybody is franchised, then, like, the power of an organization kind of loses that, like, input a little bit.
It's true, and it's tough.
So, going back to the CWL, we saw there's kind of a battle going on right now. I'm not 100% up to date with the results, but I know Faze.
They won their home.
Atlanta Faze won
that
that mid-season, and then the Chicago Huntsmen.
They won this weekend, right?
Nah, yeah. I don't expect anything less from Scumpy and Scumpy.
I'm glad Faze won because I feel like the teams, like you're not gonna see Paris win. You're not gonna see those teams win, and that's what sucks too. like you're only gonna see Huntsmen.
Well, I mean,
Atlanta
if you give
Faze.
them time, like
Yeah, that's true
Now,
too, but
didn't
you gotta look at the
Florida-
players.
Florida was doing pretty well this last
Mutineers,
week.
right? Is that what they're? I don't know.
Mutineers,
Mutineers.
Yeah, I think
Something like that.
I think they were doing pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, I just feel bad because I feel like everyone who's just gonna win is just these top dog teams: Huntsmen, Atlanta Faze.
Well, you know, to relate it to the Overwatch League a little bit, the first season of the Overwatch League, there's only 12 teams, the exact same as the CWL. And unfortunately, like, even though they would love to advertise it as a league of the best players, the best, you know, what, like 120 or however many players that are in that league, there's a gradient. And, like, obviously, certain teams captured certain higher levels of the gradient. So, like, just in the Overwatch League, like, there were 3 dominant teams, 6 mid-tier teams, and then 3 dog-shit tier teams. And, like, obviously, the bottom 3 are never touching the top 9.
Exactly.
Maybe once in a while, the mid-6 would touch the top 3, but the top 3 were just the battle the whole season, because everybody knew, like...
That's what
Like,
it's
these are the best squads. So, like, even though you have a diverse group of individuals with 12 different teams, like... It's pretty clear that FaZe and Chicago just scooped up all the greatest players, all the GOATs going into it.
Dallas Empire, too. They have, like, Clayster. They got, you know...
Yo, Clayster's insane.
Clayster's insane. I mean, FaZe got Simp. Like, the whole E United roster from last year. Oh, my God. Insane. Huntsman has...
Don't they have Arcides?
Arcides.
They have Arcides,
insane too. AR player. Insane. From Black Ops 4.
Yeah, so, like, really, as we go long-term with the CWL, we'll see kind of how they're going to make it interesting. Because, obviously, like, Overwatch is very strategy-dependent, and so, like, who can play what characters comes in. But, like, in a black-and-white game like Call of Duty, like, hopefully it's not the same top-tier teams for the next 5 seasons. Because I don't think anybody
I wonder if
watch that.
I don't think... Any other game did this, but do you think there's going to be, like, not roster changes, but, like, trading? Like, you know how NHL, there's the trades, or any regular sport, there's, like, trade, stuff like that.
They do actually have that in the
I wonder if
Overwatch League.
I wonder if they can do that based off of, like, okay, this team's too powerful. We're going to take scum from you, and we're going to give you an
auto balance.
So they actually haven't done anything like that in
thinking.
Overwatch, but I know in the Overwatch League, they basically opened it up to... You have a trading deadline, you have a trading window after the season ends, and you can, within that time, if you want to negotiate salaries or trading of players between, like, different org, that's fine.
Yeah.
But they didn't, the only really, like, thing they imposed on the whole league was just a minimum. It's a $50,000 salary minimum. But other than that, which is, like...
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of fucking money.
And that's, like, with travel accommodations and everything, too. That's crazy.
Oh, that's with travel, living. They literally, they get everything. And then they have a minimum on top of the $50K. So, like, to see some trades in the first season, for example, like New York, it's interesting to be a fan of a team and then see them progress through trades and different deadlines. So, like, their original squad is basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's half of what it originally was 3 years ago. Like, there's...
And they're probably better for it, though.
No, absolutely. I would love to have seen those guys stick together as a squad, but from an actual gameplay standpoint, that squad was made for an entirely different meta.
Right.
So, like, the game is almost fundamentally differently played than how it was.
That's why it's hard, too,
ago.
because now you're putting, like... So, let's say Scumpy and whoever else is RCDs are on one team, right? One's from Optic, one's from E United. Who knows if they can work together well? I mean, obviously they do, but with that being said, like, you don't know if that's going to be a good match, and then they're going to have to get used to each other if they don't like... Like, it's a whole big thing,
Chemistry is a big thing.
Well, chemistry is huge because there are tons of teams in all types of esports that, on paper, are the best team in the game. But, like, it's the type of teams that have that trust in each other and that game knowledge to go, like... All right, I know we're not individually the best possible at our roles, whether it be being the best entry man in CSGO or being the best healer in Overwatch. Like, there's so many different dynamics. But if you have that trust and you have that communication and all the, what's the term? Like, they talk about it with, like, the non-physicals or, like, the non-valuables where, like, you can't even really stringently define it, but if you have that magic and you have that, like, really just like team chemistry, you can beat
100%.
you can beat the
really
best
anything.
team on paper that has terrible chemistry most of the time.
Right.
Yeah, so it comes down to like meshing different players together and like, yeah, that'll be interesting to see as the seasons go on with the CWL. Really, like who stays the top dogs. I mean, I want to see Scum go down a legend in that too. On top
He already
of
is.
I mean, he already is, but I want
He
to
said
see.
he's not retiring for another at least 2 or 3 more seasons.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I want to see him
That's-
just dominate the CWL for the rest of his career.
That'll
like,
be dope as shit.
yeah.
100%. I also, one thing I just want to add on that, I wish 100 Thieves was in this.
absolutely.
They'll
They
definitely
are
get into it.
they are having such an impact. I mean,
They're the
Cash
elephant
App
not in the room.
compound.
They'll definitely get into it.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so much money though. That's the thing. I feel like they could have used that money if they didn't get the compound, but
Well, from a competitive standpoint too. I mean, if they bring in, hopefully, because Activision Blizzard like owns both the COD World League and the Overwatch League now. So they, right? Like,
so next year, so who made Modern Warfare? Activision?
Yeah.
So next year's gonna be Treyarch, right?
Yeah.
So then are they gonna own the rights for a year? Is it
now, I'd imagine. Actually, I'm not entirely sure on that.
I think
don't
it was
know.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I
I'm
think
sure
it was
it's
so
one
low.
giant partnership. It has to
It's
be.
got to be one giant partnership because in the past they've
Split it.
but in the past the esports goes from one game to the next game to the next game.
It's
so
always Activision then Treyarch.
yeah, exactly. So I want to see, but what I'm trying to say is like Activision is involved. Let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
in both the Overwatch League and the COD World League. So I want to see, and they both franchise.
Yeah,
They
stupid
both
money.
started with 12 teams. I want to see if they'll go to a 20-man or 20-team
Like pros? Like 20 pro teams?
No, 20 like teams in the COD World League. 'Cause
Okay,
right
yeah.
now there's only 18.
Yeah, because they have the small challenge or path to a pro.
Yeah, so Path to Pro, they jokingly call it in Overwatch the Path to Poverty because it's so hard to actually like attain and like actually follow through on that route. So
Yeah.
seeing like hopefully we see a progression of, because I was just about to say, to go back to what I was saying, like I think 100 Thieves could be one of the best teams in the COD World League if they come through with the influence and the salaries.
The support's
that
there.
they're
They can
capable.
definitely put out the salaries. It's just what players are they going to get?
Well, and I think being like the kind of like young blood in the COD scene, especially
just in general.
just
young.
in general, yeah, they could really attract some just vicious players, which like I think
They definitely could. I mean, they just signed Cease.
For what?
Fortnite. They signed like 2 or 3 Fortnite pros who were
Bro,
just in the World
Fortnite
Cup.
Esports is like.
That makes me nauseous.
Fortnite is definitely on the decline,
I don't
but
even
I
want to
think
talk about Fortnite. It's just that game. Just
yeah,
that's
it's
I can't
because it's
take
not
it.
only
the World Cup's cool though. I mean, like don't get me wrong.
Dude, no,
that was right here in
Fortnite,
our hometown.
I fucking hate Fortnite, dude. That game's horrible. It's horrible
Just gotta get better at it.
not
just get good, kid.
no the skill gap, bro. If I used to play Fortnite obsessively, bro. I played Fortnite junior year when it really took off and everyone was playing it. I said like the first 2 months that it came out and everyone started to get into it. I amassed 300 solo wins. Quit for a week. Came back. It's just
Terrible.
It's like yo,
You
bro.
can't
like,
stop playing that.
Nah,
what I
it's
miss,
so bad.
You
dude. The
can't.
skill gap, bro. The ceiling is like in fucking heaven right now, bro. Like people will quit. I know people that quit will come back and can't play again.
Yeah.
Because all
Can't.
these 12-year-olds that just twiddle their thumbs on their controllers, building, won't even shoot.
Aim
Bro,
assist.
Fortnite is ridiculous, bro. I like games like
Dude.
who implements a building system. I like.
No, well, I kind of like that. It was a different take on the battle royale. Like, think about how short-lived Fortnite's success would be if it didn't have building, or it didn't have destruction
building was
environments.
fun.
It would have been nobody would have played that.
And you get more creative within the game too because your keybinds, they're so different from everyone
Yeah.
else's, and they're like, oh, what's Tfue keybind? Like they want to copy players, stuff like that, but like it's just like the creativity that you can put on your keyboard to your computer, and then like as well as creative and then creative maps, death runs, like that whole thing is honestly amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome
What
because
people
then you
build.
get the biggest thing you can do as a developer is have your community make your content, because then
Yes.
you both profit off of your content while getting the credit for it being good and not having to.
And
make
they
it.
executed
So-
it well. They had the block. I don't know if they still have it.
Yeah.
But it's community built maps, and like
In
instead of tilted towers, you're gonna have my map right there, Trilo's like world or whatever. You know, like it's crazy.
So you wanted to talk about to transition a little bit. We're seeing right now like the battle for CS:GO's soul between Navi and Astralis. So you were talking about, you want to go off on that a little bit?
Yeah, so Navi plays number 1 over Astralis. Astralis is now number 2.
I saw that.
I don't know what's going on with them this season. It's looking like a Warriors type thing.
My friends, like they sports bet. They sports bet, and like CS:GO Empire, you could place bet on what teams win. Everyone's like, oh, it's always Astralis, right?
No, he's coming in with some heat. That's what I like to see.
Shaking up the game a little
That's what I like to see, though. And especially in like any type of sports, just like some other.
That's what we were just talking about. I mean,
Navi was good. Navi, when CS:GO first started out in esports, Navi was going off.
Well, I think like the biggest thing, if you look at traditional sports, you would never watch the NFL if it was the same team winning every year. And then you look at like certain esports where, oh no, legit, like there is a team that wins all the fucking time because they have the best roster, bar none. They play the best Call of Duty or League of Legends. So to see a team like come in and contest that top spot like is good for fans. It's good for business.
It was like Black Ops 4 Season 2. I mean, United won Grand Champs. That was unexpected. They won the championship before that. 100 Thieves won. 100 Thieves won again. Like, there were so many different teams that won, and it's just variety, and it was anyone's game. Like, Black Ops 4 was the most intense Call of Duty to watch competitively. Yeah. It was crazy between
Black
Ops 4 and everything.
Black Ops 4 was when, what's his name? Dashy came up on Optic, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah.
I was watching that game live when Dashy with the electricity bolt, was it?
The Tempest.
The Tempest, and he slayed out. Do you remember he got like a 4K at the end round of the that shit was just so dope.
Same thing with Simp. He was bench the whole year. They brought him in. They substituted him actually in Faze because Faze needed one. They won that championship, and then Simp won in a United. They played him, and he won Grand Champions. He went from bench to playing rest of the season to Faze now.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's great.
And Rookie of the Year at the Esports Awards,
that's
Controller
amazing.
Rookie of the, like something like that. He won 2 awards, I believe. Simp is a great guy. He was at one of the events that we were at. Kirsch was at. He's very good. Like he was there for Black Ops 4. I mean, insane. Same thing with Phantoms. He was on Faze. Now he's in like Paris or something like that. Like they're literally insane.
Yeah. You want to talk about what's going on with Curse right now? Like what games you guys at? Like what?
So nothing really crazy is going on right now. So right now we're in a little bit of a transition period. So we got some new stuff coming out, new merch that you saw.
Talking about Championship, that's true. That's dope.
And there's just a bunch of stuff that's coming out between new designs, possible new logos, stuff like that, which is huge stuff. For CS:GO ESEA, we placed first place, going 14-2 the whole season.
That's
lost 2 games. We're going right into the playoffs, and we'll advance there, and then hopefully advance again, and just go pro. Like as long as they're building up the ladder and they're going up, people you can make it. You just need to have that team. I mean, these guys have a connection, and especially from an owner standpoint too. If you could talk to your guys and do all that, it's the greatest connection. If you get together, if you get along with them well, they get along with you. There's great bonds, just amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's happening. Like that. It's that like chemistry. Like you need to have faith in like not only your teammates but who's running the ship, like who's driving the boat.
Yeah,
so that's dope.
Overall, just picking up new streamers, just trying to branch there, just get more content creators, pump out more content. That's really it, though. I mean, there's nothing crazy going on that I can think about.
That's dope.
At the moment.
How are you guys? Have you guys read up on the new these new consoles that are coming out?
Oh, bro, rip consoles.
I can go on my
Xbox PC.
I can go on my console rant for a little bit.
$600.
So going into computer science, I would say consoles are fucked. Like, if you have a console right now, whatever, do not buy the new one. Because if you look at it, the average lifespan of a console is getting shorter and shorter because the technology is getting better so quickly that like the original Xbox was perfectly serviceable for 8 or 9 years, right? There were certain like the PlayStation 2s that had such long lifespans, and then you get to the 360s and the PS3s, and it's like, all right, yeah, like that. It felt like a long time, but then you look at the Xbox One, how close it came out to the 360, and then they came out with the Project Scorpio, the Xbox One X, and so they're really like.
Well, I mean, it's been 7 years, but also like, PS3 was released in 2008, and PS4 was released in 2013. It's been longer.
Yeah, well, Xbox 360s were what, like 2007. 2007 and then 2013. So if you look at how long your console is actually going to last you and is going to be serviceable compared to a gaming PC is only getting shorter. And now that they're going to have to start charging more because like they're coming out with a brand,
it's just better.
Well, if you look at, I just think like from a economic standpoint, a computer is always the way to go because you can it's modular. So if you want to upgrade, one specific, like whether it be the graphics card, the CPU, the RAM, anything like that, you can upgrade that one metric without having to get a brand new fucking case or getting a new motherboard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when you buy a brand new Xbox, I mean, what you're really paying for is the new GPU and the new CPU, but you have to buy the whole thing over again. And, I mean, my brother ran Fortnite on, I want to say, a NVIDIA 660, and it ran perfectly fine. That card came out, like, 12 years ago. And so, like, if your parts are serviceable, like, you can make your computer go a very long way.
Yeah. Even when you think about it like this, too, you can resell parts in your PC. Like, you're not going to resell an Xbox part.
No, yeah. One of our friends the other day, someone sent me a Snapchat of... He took a 360, or he took an Xbox One to GameStop, and they gave him $50, less than the price of a single Xbox One game. Xbox One game, like that's fucked up. That's such a depreciation in value because it was worth 10 times more than that, not 7 years ago.
I just got the Xbox One X, and I have another Xbox, but there's no point in selling it. I mean, I had the Advanced Warfare Edition, so that's why I want to keep it, but it's not even worth it. It's really not.
and if you look at it just from a practical standpoint, I mean, the things that you can do with a computer that's $1,000 compared to a $500 Xbox One X, I mean, you can run, whether it be work, creative shit, like it's not even close.
And you can plug your controller in there if that's your concern too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's
can you really plug in a keyboard mouse on?
You can do anything with a computer, bro. Look at technology and how it's not going to stop.
It's taking off, yeah. So if
we're not recording on an Xbox.
Getting more expensive.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This is not being recorded on an Xbox. So if you see kind of the progression of companies like Sony and companies like Microsoft, like they're going to have to start working really hard to sell those Xboxes because hopefully people understand that PC is just the way to go.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think the past 2 years, especially with Ninja's impact in the streaming community and all that, PC sales have just flown up. Everyone wants to stream now. Like, I think I mentioned this in the first episode. I was like, when I first did YouTube, like, everyone was like, why the fuck are you doing this? This is weird. Like, what? Now, if you do YouTube, you're cool. Yeah. If you have some viewers on Twitch, that's amazing. Like, it's so weird now. Like, people just, like, not shit on me, but people are like, this is so odd. Now it's so common. People want to do this. People want to stream. People want to make videos. People want to do this for a career.
I think, like, it's sharing. One of the biggest things is just sharing, whether it be your skill or your passion for video games. Like, it all comes back to how big video games are.
Right.
Because, I mean, video games are worth more than the music industry, I want to say. Like, video games are worth an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
So
very profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're seeing the emergence of all these leagues and all these streaming platforms, because it's just consuming video games. Like, that's the biggest thing.
Speaking of video games, Madden 2K.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, seeing how Madden
2K
has been...
and EA just, two of the worst games.
I was going to say, NHL... they're not 2K. I think they had a couple.
They're EA.
Though. They had a couple 2Ks, I thought, no?
I don't think so.
I thought they did.
No, they're always
I know they're
EA.
I know they're EA.
Yeah.
I hear EA Sports.
Dude, don't get me started about EA and how dog shit all their games are.
I mean, are you excited for 2K, Madden?
No.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Bro, 2K died when Michael Jordan was on the cover. What was that? 2K13, and then everything after that is just like
Just downhill.
Bro, the
I
only
mean,
people
how
that
much
play
can you
2K
change your games though?
Dude, the only people that play 2K now are a bunch
You're
of,
paying
like,
for roster updates. It's literally all you're
like
paying.
That's
bro,
true, too.
and it's like you could just download rosters. Like people update the rosters all
And
the
you
time.
can't get
on the
graphics any better than they
game.
already
Yeah,
are.
no, bro. Like,
No.
what are you gonna change to the game?
Michael
A
Jordan
storyline?
actually
You
running
can
it.
get
Like,
RTX.
2K,
yeah, exactly.
dude, sports games other than like NHL are like very uninteresting now, especially 2K and Madden.
WWE. I
Yo,
like the storylines.
oh.
Those were cool. You pick a
WWE
guy.
is dope.
Pick a guy, walk around backstage, beat the shit out of
WWE
someone.
and
It's
UFC
pretty
are
dope.
dope as shit.
That's
But,
good.
I think we're coming up on almost an hour, so we're gonna wrap it up. So I'm gonna be doing some more streaming with Samir and hopefully Brian a little bit
45.
over on twitch.tv/Iris Gaming MY. So IRIS Gaming MY. You can check Samir out there as well. Of course, Brian, owner of Cursed Ascension, always popping out. Check out what they're doing over there. Their brand new championship merch, which looks pretty
Yes,
dope.
sir.
Gotta hook us up with some of that shit.
Yeah,
so
I'll try to.
hopefully we'll just start.
Let's get it out.
We'll just start pumping these out. So subscribe, follow on Twitch, all that kind of shit.
And check
So-
out his videos. He's uploading on
Yeah,
here too.
he's
It's not just the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we'll be coming at you with some content.